Hey guys, welcome back to Medical Coding with Blue. Today's episode is all about what you should know about learning medical billing and coding. If you're brand new to my channel, welcome. I am Blue, I'm a medical coder. Okay guys, I got a comment. So we're gonna read the comment and then we're gonna get into it. So here we go, the viewer says, so I'm trying to get more information on the classes/courses for medical biller and coder, but I feel like I'm getting so much different information. But one thing you said was really helpful. Go directly to the associations themselves. Thank you. I know I have no type of self-discipline. I have tried to do self-study for something that I really love to learn, but I can't seem to stay on track. So I recently requested information for a program through a proprietary school, which, to be honest, I don't know what that means. I'll look it up in a moment. But anyway, I was just contacted by them and I asked the person how much would it cost. I feel like the person skirted around the question and asked me the question in return, like, this is an online course, would that work for you? And then went on to explain something else without ever answering how much it would cost. But maybe I'll receive my answer when I get an email with more information. But some reviews on Indeed said that some programs were self-paced. Are they all just self-paced? So here's the thing. First of all, red flag. Red flag if they will not answer your question on how much the program costs. Guys, there are too many medical billing and coding programs for them not to answer your question. So if they don't answer your question and they ask you a question with a question, then tell them thank you very much for your time, and then you move on to find something else. So here's the thing. This is what you should know about learning medical coding. It is very independent. It is a very independent sport. There's a lot of schools that promise that there is an instructor that you can just reach out to with all of your questions and things like that, but you're basically going through on your own because you can learn this from a book, all right? Would it help? Would it be great if there were instructors out there to teach this? Absolutely. However, that's not the case with a lot of these programs. And sometimes the more money you spend, obviously, you're going to have access to a teacher, but it doesn't necessarily guarantee that the teacher is any good. Some people have told me that they spent $20,000 to learn medical billing and coding, and their teacher did not help them and they did not learn anything. So the thing that I want to tell you guys is this. Choose very carefully the path that you are going through to learn medical billing and coding. There's a lot of information out there from like former students and things like that about like which program that they felt was good. But there's a lot of people that will comment on the show that this program was very good, that they had a good experience. And then in the same time, I will get more comments from people who said that that very program wasn't any good. So really it all depends on where you are. But the surprise should be that it's not a surprise that you have to do work to learn this. Now, if you get lucky and you have an instructor and they're teaching you and you're going through this whole process, it is important for you to be self-disciplined. The fact that the person says, I have no type of self-discipline is worrisome because you need to have self-discipline. There is nobody that's going to get through this course other than you. And at the end of the day, it's going to be you in that testing seat that is taking that test, not anybody else. This is something where we have to learn independently. We will work independently when we get out in the real world. And there's a lot of things that you have to be responsible for. So if this is not your cup of tea, you may want to rethink getting into this type of work, because we have to know what doctors know while never having gone to medical school. Do not let this scare you. Do not let it overwhelm you. Just let yourself know that this is a fact. We have to know this stuff because essentially we're reading their documents all day long. We have to be able to interpret everything that's there, whether it is a diagnosis or a procedure code. And we have to be able to put it into these codes and then submit it for correct billing. And then, everybody's happy. But the only way you're able to do that is through discipline and hard work and study. That's the only thing. You know, a lot of people ask me, well, what am I supposed to learn, and how do I learn, and where do I go, and what do I do? You know, the person already said that they tried to do the self-study. But did you set yourself up on a schedule? Did you give yourself the opportunity to be set up for success? A lot of people say, well, Blue, I tried to do the self-study, but I couldn't do it. Well, how many hours a week did you study? Oh, well, I would do an hour here, and then, you know, so how many overall hours did you do? Maybe 2 or 3 a week. Unacceptable, guys, unacceptable. It's about putting in the time. And if you tell me, Blue, I have a full-time 40-hour-a-week job and I have a family, it is still possible, guys. It is possible to make yourself a schedule where you are going to fit those small pockets of time in throughout the day. Write it down so that you can see it, so that you can, you know, look at your goal in front of you every day, and then you can work towards that goal. And everybody's not a robot. I understand that. There's going to be weeks, and there's going to be days where you have a lot going on and you're not going to be able to hit the books that day. But it's not a reason or an excuse to give up. It is about saying, okay, well, I had a fall this day, but let me come back to it this day. Or I had a fall this week, but let me come back to it. The ones that are very diligent with their studies are the ones that become successful in the end. It is those that are coming up with excuses and, oh, I'm just not that disciplined. No one is going to take this test but you. So you have to get disciplined. That is a key essential ingredient to a successful medical coder, is that will and that drive. Now ask yourself the question, why are you even wanting to do this in the first place? Why are you even wanting to pursue medical billing and coding? And if it's because you say that you want to make your life better, you want to make your family's life better, you want to be able to do things and have a good career that pays well, then you have to do the work with it, all right? There are people who sign up for these really cheap programs, and I've been reviewing programs here and there on the channel, and I'll probably make a list, like a playlist for those videos. But I can't recommend this program or that program because I've never gone through these programs. The only program that I can say that I do recommend is going directly to the associations themselves. And then, you know, you pick either one, or if you don't want to do that, you can always go the self-study route. There are many people who comment, and even more so lately, that they've said that they've gone through that independent study route and they were successful at passing their certification exams. It's out there, guys, and it is free. I include it on my channel, and I've come up with these. I do update the book lists, and I thought I had updated all the books, but if for some reason you find the playlist, or not the playlist, but if you find the syllabus and it doesn't have an updated book, like maybe it still says, you know, 2020 or 2021 on the on the ICD-10-CM or something like that, you can always use common sense and get the current year book for that one. So that way you know the title of the book, just get the current year book. Now the workbooks, it's okay to use the older books because it'll save you a few bucks. However, with that ICD-10-CM and ICD-10-PCS coding handbook with the answers, it has gone up. I have tried to find it for less than $39 because when I first started recommending it, it was $39. And now you cannot find it for like less than $89. Okay, so last time I checked. And so I was like, wow, you know, because people are actually getting it. The book is amazing. Okay, so it's the best book, I think, to learn ICD-10 CM or ICD-10 PCS. So either one, you can learn either one, or you can learn them both. Not everybody's going to take an inpatient coding exam like the CCA or the CCS. So if you just want to learn the diagnosis coding, it is totally fine. It covers everything about diagnosis coding, and it is fantastic. That book I will recommend over that Bucks book any day of the week and twice on Sunday. I do not recommend the Bucks books because I have Bucks. I like books, and I do not like that book because of the way that it's set up. I don't feel that it is very beginner medical coder user friendly. And that's just my opinion. You know, if you've had a different experience with it, by all means, that's fine. But what I'm saying is when I see that book, I don't recommend it. And there are a lot of programs that offer that book as part of the package of going to that school. Now, if that's the case with your school, it is okay to get that other book, the ICD-10-CM and ICD-10-PCS Coding Handbook with the Answers by the AHA, the American Hospital Association. Nellie Chisen is the author. The link is in the description box below. I do recommend that you do get that to augment your studies, because just because they give you these books with the program, it doesn't necessarily mean that's what you have to use to study medical coding. You can always use that to augment, like I said. And the CPC study guide is the one that I recommend to learn CPT coding. Guys, even though you're taking an AHIMA test, CCA, CCS, or CCSP, you can still use the CPC study guide to learn CPT, all right? Because we all use the same CPT manual, all right? I don't recommend the AHIMA books. If you're thinking that's what you need to study for any of the certification exams, I don't recommend them, because a lot of people write me all the time and say, well, Blue, none of those questions are on the test. They're not supposed to be on the test. If they were, then everybody would pass, and there would be no way to gauge a person's knowledge base. So that's why I say I don't recommend them just because of the quality of the book. I don't personally like it. If you were successful with it, that's totally fine. But what I'm saying is what I recommend on my channel. And obviously it has worked, because again, like I said, there's more and more people telling me every day that they passed the certification exams using my syllabus. So I'm just saying, guys, you know, it's just an option and it's out there. But expect to learn on your own, guys. Expect that there's going to be times where you're going to get stuck. You're going to get stuck and you're going to feel very frustrated. Use websites like LinkedIn to find connections for either mentors or tutors. So mentor is somebody that, you know, you can go to for advice, you know, and they don't charge to be a mentor. However, if you get a tutor, they're going to have to charge you, because you're paying for the person's time to help you and tutor you to get you through whatever is troubling you, whatever is confusing you. I am a tutor myself. My rate is in the description box below, and you can find a lot of them on LinkedIn. There are a lot of medical coding tutors on LinkedIn. So you are able to get with anybody that is available. So that's just something that you should know about learning medical billing and coding. But the thing that I would say is, don't expect anybody to hold your hand, guys. That's not the way that this field is. Do I wish that was different? Of course. Do I wish that, you know, there was a lot of things that were different about the industry? Yeah, sure. But at the same time, that's what you should expect. You should expect to have to learn this on your own. And a lot of these programs are self-paced, even with an instructor. Because sometimes people will get into these programs and they've told me these horror stories about getting with these programs that they say that they're supposed to be an instructor, but the instructor got impatient with them. The instructor didn't want to teach them, or they just basically sat in front of them with a book and was like, you know, well, I'm just reading from this book here. And I've heard even worse where people have said that, you know, they've gone to a school and the teacher was using an older diagnosis book and never used a current year diagnosis book, and then was marking people wrong based on her old book. And so I don't think that's right. And so that there's teachers out there that are like that. And again, it's about using that common sense and saying, okay, well, obviously that's not right, so let me go ahead and try this another way. All right. Now, like I said, I recommend older year workbooks because they have the same questions as a current year and they're just a little cheaper. So you can still do that even if you're using a current year diagnosis book or procedure book. You could still do that because you'll see if the code is going to be there in your book or not. And if it's not there, then you know that that code has been updated. Okay, I'm just saying. So that's just something that you ought to know. But Don't be swayed by these programs that say, oh, well, they're not answering your questions. They should be able to answer your questions as you ask them. And asking them how much the tuition is no big secret. I mean, you need to know this. If they won't answer you, then you could just hang up or just tell them, thank you very much for your time. Have a nice day. If they try to pressure you and say, oh, well, you know, we're having a sale right now and you can get signed up and then you can get this and you can get that, but you only have 2 days to decide. No, guys, because there's a ton of schools out there that you don't need to be pressured into giving them your money right away. All right. And I will say this to kind of, the cheaper the program, you get what you pay for. Now, when I say the cheaper the program, you get what you pay for. If it's under $1,500 for this program, yeah, I would be like, is this a really fast-paced medical coding program? There's no hardback books to go with it. I mean, what's going on? Because sometimes they will give you the diagnosis book and the procedure book for the class, but they will have like the electronic workbooks and things like that. I am a very hands-on person. I need to have hands-on books. And so that may be an additional charge for you during your program. So that's just something that you got to be aware of. A reasonable price for a medical billing and coding course is between $4,000 and $5,000. That's reasonable because AHIMA and AEPC both charge give or take around that much for their programs. If you go through the AHIMA 13 course bundle, it's like $29.99. But then that's just the program itself. That's not including the books. The books you have to pay for separately. So it's like another $1,100 give or take. So it's right there, right around a little over $4,000. And the same thing for AAPC. Sometimes they have a lot of sales, and then, you know, if they have a sale, that's what I noticed about AAPC. If they have a sale, they're going to add on, oh, there's all these other things, these other options we can sell you. Additional credentials, which is more money for the association, basically. But even though you're getting additional credentials, a lot of them are doubling up on the original flagship credential. Because their original flagship credential, which is a CPC, covers reimbursement. It covers diagnosis coding. It covers outpatient coding. So they have additional credentials that cover those three things. And so they're going to say, oh, we have all of these other, you know, options of additional credentials as well. Again, it's more money because more CEUs that you have to report. So I'm just saying, guys, all you need is one credential to start with. Just start with one. That's half the battle right there, is just to get yourself through that one and build your knowledge base. And then that will give you time to be in the industry, so that way you can learn about what would make sense to add on as additional credentials, and not just being like, okay, basically a lamb to like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and get this and get this and get this and get this. You don't have to go through that, guys. You just have to have the one certification, and then that's it. You know, later on down the line, if you want to do something specialty like CDI or like a tumor registry, that is totally fine, because those make sense. Those make sense because that's something that's completely separate and different from medical coding. Okay, so that's just my advice anyway. But like I said, when it comes to learning medical billing and coding, there's a lot of options. The only one I can really recommend is the one directly with the associations themselves. It's not going to be the most glamorous thing to learn through them. And a lot of times it is going to be very dull and boring. But that's part of this. And it's going to be on you to think of your why. Why do you want to do this? And let that be your driver. A lot of times people will get themselves into these kind of schools and then be like, you know, I don't feel motivated. Well, why were you motivated to begin medical coding in the first place? Well, Blue, it was because, you know, I don't want to work minimum wage jobs anymore. Okay, so in those times where you don't feel motivated, then you think back on that and you think to yourself, I don't want to have to go back to cleaning houses, because that's what I did. I don't want to have to go back to working at the bar with all these crazy people talking to you all kind of crazy ways, because that's what I did. That's what I was doing before I got into this. So I've been in those jobs. I've been in those minimum wage jobs, working at the concession stand, on my feet, on the concrete, all day long for 12, 13 hours. And it was so hard on my body. And I was a lot younger then. But it was very hard on me. And I was very determined to start in this field because I wanted to work in a nice, clean office. I wanted to be able to go into work and be dressed up and look nice and leave work not smelling like, food or beer or something like that. I could just be okay, going home. And now when I go home and I'm leaving work and I go to a restaurant, go pick up some dinner or something like that, they're like, "Oh, are you going to work or are you coming home?" I said, "I'm coming home. I'm off of work." They were like, "Oh, okay. Well, you look very nice today." I said, "Thank you." I get that a lot. I stop by the store and it's the same thing, And they were like, "Well, you look nice today." Like, yeah, this is my work attire. That's what I work in. So again, you have to really think back on that. You have to think back on those times and think how you feel and think about your goals and think about what you want to do. Because this thing of, "Oh, I'm not motivated, I'm not disciplined," it ain't cutting it, guys. It is not cutting it. It's not. And it will never cut it, because, growth and being successful is not a comfortable process. It is not. It is a uncomfortable, ego-busting process. Because your ego is going to take a hit. Every time you feel like you don't know something, it's going to take a hit. When you pass your certification exam, you're going to feel that boost of like, okay, that confidence. And then you get out in the real world and then you're going to take a hit on your ego again. If, hey, you didn't pass an assessment test. So you have to either try again or, we're not going to hire you, So it's going to be an ebb and flow, guys. And that's something that you have to expect to know and look forward to. Now, I have many videos on my channel about what to learn, and I have the self-study video, the independent study video. The link is in the description box below. I get the question constantly, but it is there. You click on that link and there's the YouTube video. You click on the description box and there's the whole syllabus right there. And then along with all of the videos that I recommend, my contact information is there, and all the other books that I recommend as well. There's additional books that I do recommend that did not fit on the syllabus because the syllabus only has so many characters that you can write in that description box. So I do have other recommends there. I just added Pathophysiology, a workbook and a book to, the study guide to go with it. So, it's new, it's there. So be sure to check the description box. And I've got a lot of other new things on the description box. So be sure to check it out. But that's my video for today, guys. It is hard work to learn it, but anything that you really have to work for is worth it, right? Because if it was easy, then everybody could do it, and then it wouldn't be worth it, then would it? But it's your career and your life, guys. And time, I'm telling y'all, it goes like that. And by the time you know it, you're going to be at retirement age. And then if you are at retirement age and you want to do this as your second career, well, you know the deal. You know the drill. Get in there and learn it, and you'll be able to start a whole second career, because there's a lot of people that do it. I'm just saying. So I'm going to wrap this one up. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope this video helped you. If it does, please like, subscribe, and share, and I will see y'all again next time. Bye.